Welcome back to Let's Talk Tuesday. This is the podcast where we have real conversations about learning, leadership, and what it truly takes to help people and organizations grow. Each week, we bring together different perspectives, experiences, and voices to explore what learning development really means, why it matters, and how we can do it better. Today, we have a very special guest, Jim Gray from Cleveland, Ohio, who has over 25 years of experience as a project manager. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Amanda. Nice to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you about project management, one of my absolute favorites, since that's my background as well. So, we're going to have some fun today. Tell us a bit about your background and what your current focus is today.
So, as you mentioned, I have over 25 years of project management experience over a wide range of industries and disciplines. I actually track all my projects just because that's what project managers do. And
Mm-hmm.
I have completed successfully 115 individual projects.
Wow.
Projects can vary, industry size can vary dramatically. I've been in Fortune 20, I've been in smaller regional businesses, and I've executed projects from a week and a few $1,000s to several years and $50 million. So everything in between.
Yep, I've been there. I don't count as much as I love to track everything. I think everyone would be shocked to hear me say this out loud. I don't track actual individual projects because that would be, I can't count that high. But I count based like for me, it's I've worked with 40 clients in 15 countries across 12 industries because like you said, like I've done the major large scale ones. And so like even one of my clients right now, we track projects as like a year. And just one of my clients for the year for last year, I think we got up to something like 560 projects. Again, I was the
Wow.
global
Wow.
program manager, so I'm overarching. I have multiple
Right,
project
right,
managers
right.
under me. So I don't, but I am like have a small piece. And so I don't count projects anymore, but I love that you count your projects. I love that. What does learning development mean in your world?
So learning and development is one of the critical pieces of a project because when one is executing a project with a group of people, you're implementing some sort of change at a company. And implementing that change successfully through systems and processes is one thing, but at the end of the day, more than likely people have to execute the work. So preparing them for the upcoming change and making sure they have the right resources and tools and knowledge to execute that change successfully is critical. And it's, something that comes typically right near the end of the project before go live. But training the people on the new piece you're rolling out it's vital. It really is.
Yeah, systems and processes I love. We can talk all day long. And then you have to get actual humans to do it, right? And so the
That's right.
people part of it is the complexity that
Hmm.
needs solving a lot of times because if people don't actually change their behavior, then learning hasn't occurred. And also your initiative is not going to be successful.
No, you will fail, even if you execute the project from a systems and processes point of view perfectly. If the people can't do the work because they haven't been trained properly, it's a failure. Just can't do it that way.
And I know so many PMPs that I absolutely love and project managers. For a long time, I didn't like to call myself a project manager because I had this, a lot of people who call themselves, especially PMPs, a very technical project manager. I always like to say, like, I'm a people project manager because I'm like, what is it going to take for people to actually adapt this system and process, right?
That's right. That's right. Couldn't agree more.
Why is learning development so important, especially in today's world? You've seen 25 years, so talk to me about like today how it has a bigger impact.
I think it has a bigger impact today just because there are so many things pulling at people's time and employees' time. When you execute a project, it requires people to execute that project, but then they have their kind of day job and whatever else is going on in their personal life. So making sure that the training being done in this day and age for people who are pulled in so many different directions, as opposed to many, many years ago when perhaps they had a more singular focus on their role. Uh, so training them today would be, extremely vital, as not that it wasn't important as important in the past, but it is definitely more important today.
Yeah, and it something you said really struck me. It's how do you keep their attention when it sounds like there's just so many things that are demanding of not only their time, but their attention.
I think you keep people's attention by just reiterating the importance of the project that is being done and completed, and that the executives or leaders at the company have decided that this project needs to be done, and making sure that they understand how it impacts their day-to-day life, and hopefully in a more simple way. Frequently projects are done to simplify things, sometimes not, but frequently they are. So just making sure they understand, hey, you used to do this, whatever it is, this way, and now with this project, we're going to do it this way, and help them understand that hopefully it's going to be easier for them to do that piece of work, whatever that may be.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite expressions is like, what's in it for me, right? And so if you can translate that, whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people, if they understand how it individually impacts their world and their role and their life, I think
Yep.
they're much more willing. Sometimes, we take them
Yep.
through the
They'll buy
change
in quicker.
cycle, right? But
Yep.
they're
They'll
more
buy in
willing to,
quicker.
yeah,
Yep.
what's in it for me? For sure.
I like that phrase.
What do you wish companies knew or did differently as it relates to learning development?
Over the course of my career, I feel like learning and development on a project scale, sometimes companies just like they'll talk about it, but do they really want to commit to it within the project timeline at the end? So frequently you'll hear people say, "Oh yeah, yeah, we got to train those people. We got to train those people." But then we were like, "Well, to train those people, we need to create the curriculum and the whatever content and mechanism we're going to use." And that's going to take X amount of time and X amount of dollars. And they're like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. I want to train them. I don't want to spend all this money. But the fact of the matter is you have to spend some money to create all that. And then where people sometimes get uptight from an executive level is when you all of a sudden throw a couple weeks of training in at the end of the project, when right before you go live, and they're like, no, 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 I want to go live right away. And you're like, well, we have to train them, and we can't train them till all the testing and bug defects are worked out. So it's kind of an end thing that just extends the project timeline, which sometimes makes people uptight.
Or worst case scenario, they start to roll out the training, realize, uh-oh, we missed something, or the people are not understanding this, or we need something else. And then that creates a whole other
Yeah.
risk, right?
Yeah, I've been in that world before. If it's a significant change, something that's taken years to develop, I like to do beta training in the
Hmm.
beginning with a small group of subject matter experts or super users or whatever you want to call them, just to say, okay, here's the training and let's go through it. And they'll frequently, make suggestions on how to make it better, which even adds more time, which makes people more
Right.
uptight. But for the successful execution of the project, it's a time well spent, really.
It's so true. And the other thing was you were talking, I was thinking about was like the three pillars. Like this is our project management episode. But I always have to remind people of like time, budget, quality, right?
Yep, yep,
Something is
yep,
gonna give. If you
yep.
want 10,000 people trained up in a week, something has got to give. And so
That's right. That's
I
right.
think I can't
Yeah.
tell you how many conversations I've had with senior leaders and executives where they just think it's like a light switch that you're like, okay, we're gonna just turn it on. Let's just flip that switch. And it's funny because for my change management friends, like to be successful at any learning development initiative or any project management, you have to have some change management. You have to
Oh yeah.
manage the emotional state of humans in order to get to
Hmm.
this next place,
Hmm.
right?
That's
But
right.
I find that so often people look at it and say, oh, well, we're just going to do this change real quick and you got this, right? And as the project manager, we're responsible to make sure somehow we get to that end result, right?
That's right. No, you're 100% correct. Yep.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground here, and for my other project managers listening, I know that they're nodding their heads along in agreement with everything we've said today. What's one actionable tip or takeaway that you would love to leave people with that they can take and embed in their own life today to be more successful tomorrow?
I think one of the keys in project management and really in life is just communication
Mm,
and being able to articulate, what's going on within a project or within life. It's easy for people to not communicate as much as they should, but I think in life, over communication is better than under communication. There's a tenet I use in project management that I learned early in my career, and it's bring bad news fast.
mm,
Because within the project management world, anyone who's executed a project knows there's ups and downs, and sometimes unforeseen things happen, and which I translate as bad news. And that happens in life sometimes too. And it's more important than ever with bad news just to communicate it out. Talk with people about it who it impacts, talk with people about it who it could impact, and just work it out because sitting on it, uh, bad news does not age well. It just gets worse and worse. And then, the
true.
cover-up's worse than the crime. So, but coming back to the positive side of it is communication's just vital. And within the project management world, I communicate constantly to every person associated with a project, whether it's the person who has the least amount of effort all the way up to, whichever executive is signing off on the project. And of course, everyone in between. So, um, but in life as well, communication's just vital to a good quality of life, I believe.
One of my absolute favorite words you just said, because I say it all the time, is over communicate. Because when I tell people to over communicate, usually they almost communicate enough. And because people don't realize how much it requires, how much repetition and on top of things that it requires. I love your bring bad news to fast. I love that. And I will also say the counter of that too, that I love that you mentioned about the positive, is so often, especially at the level that I'm dealing with, they only want to hear about the bad stuff. And so it's also important to infuse in the wins, like even the small wins, like, hey, we had some wins. Like because I feel like at the
Mhm.
senior level leadership, they really just want to know, like, is it done and what went wrong? Right. So I love your idea of like that transparency and building that trust and like making sure that they know they can trust that you're going to bring stuff to them as quickly as possible, but also ensuring that you're balancing out some of the positives as well.
That's right. Yeah.
And yeah,
Yep.
over communicate, over communicate, over communicate.
hmm Couldn't agree
Love
more.
it.
hmm
Well, this has been so much fun, Jim. Thank you so much for your time. I know everyone got a lot from this conversation. And I love how the the pull through from projects to real life. It's
Yep.
how you manage your projects is how you manage your life, I think.
That's right. Yep. Correct.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda.
And with that, we'll begin to wrap up. So, I hope this discussion gave our audience a few new perspectives, sparked some ideas, and left you with at least one takeaway you can put into action immediately. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and join us every Tuesday as we continue exploring learning, leadership, and what it takes to help people and organizations grow. And if today's conversation resonated with you, or if you'd like to join me for a future episode, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and let's talk again on Tuesday. Thanks, everyone.